Today we dive into the history of a camera company that started out with a promising vision, but ended up becoming Japan's biggest fraud. Let's go back in time and start with how it all began. It all started in 1919 when a Japanese businessman, Takeshi Yamashita, established a company called Takachiho Seisakusho. The company's main focus was making thermometers and other scientific instruments. But in 1936, they decided to venture into the world of cameras. Their first camera, the Semi-Olympus 1, was a hit and soon became one of the most popular cameras in Japan. So much so that in 1942, they decided to change the company name to Olympus Optical Company Ltd. And from there, they continued to make innovative and popular cameras for decades to come. I bet you never thought about how the actions of the United States government could have such far-reaching consequences, right? But that's exactly what happened with the Olympus Corporation. In 1985, James A. Baker III, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, made a move that caused a chain of events leading to unveiling one of the most significant frauds in Japanese history. In 2011, Olympus had a market capitalization of 1.5 trillion yen, equivalent to about $20 billion US, making it one of the largest and most successful corporations in Japan. They became a household name throughout the 1990s and 2000s due to their extremely successful line of digital cameras under the leader of longtime chairman Toyoshi Kikukawa. Olympus diversified well beyond digital cameras through a series of mergers and acquisitions. Olympus. They also became a leader in the medical device industry, becoming world-renowned for their digital endoscopes in 2001. However, Kikukawa approached Michael Woodford, a British national who was in charge of Olympus as European operations, and asked if he would be willing to move to Tokyo to take a new role as company's new chief operating officer. Excited by the opportunity, Woodford agreed, but little did he know what he had signed up for. The appointment was worthy, as it is extremely rare for Japanese companies to hire foreigners to senior leadership positions, let alone CEO. When first taking the job, Woodford thought he had his life made. Of course, who wouldn't want to be the CEO of a $20 billion company with a multi-million-dollar salary? But when Woodford moved to Tokyo, he had no way of knowing what he was getting into. Woodford was appointed as CEO on October 1st, 2011 at that time. Olympus' share price was around 600 yen. Just 2 weeks later, after Woodford was appointed, he was fired by the middle of November after he had uncovered a $1.7 billion corporate fraud, as well as an apparent connection of the company to organized crime groups within Japan. After being fired, Woodford immediately flew back to London as he claimed that he feared for his life. So, what happened? How could one of Japan's most valuable and well-respected corporations collapse so quickly? It all began when the US dollar appreciation was halted, which had led to a Japanese trade surplus with the United States. With the value of the dollar decreasing, it was no longer as much fun to be a Japanese exporter. As a result, Olympus, like other Japanese companies, began to focus on speculative investments as a significant business strategy. This worked well until the Japanese bubble burst in 1990. This is when Olympus chose to hide nearly $730 million in losses, and they did so using shady tactics. One method was through shell companies set up by Olympus for that purpose. The sales of losing investments were financed with loans from banks, which received cash from Olympus to secure the loans. Under lenient account rules, those shell companies would not have to be consolidated with Olympus, so the losses could remain hidden. The plan was to get out of those losses eventually, either through more investments or through overpriced acquisitions, with the extra cost of the acquisitions going to the off-balance sheet subsidiaries to make them whole. As we all know, what goes up must come down, and by the late 1990s, Olympus couldn't keep up the charade any longer. New accounting rules mandated that some investments had to be marked to market, which would reveal the entire story. At this point, Olympus had to come clean, and the fraud was exposed. It wasn't until 2 changes in accounting rules, one caused by the Enron scandal, that the scheme eventually collapsed. KPMG AZSA, the Japanese affiliate of the International Accounting Group, failed to notice what was going on for years, but hesitated at the somewhat clumsy transaction intended to finally, if misleadingly, put the losses on Olympus's book.